feels like they're the high priests who just get to make decisions based on their own biases, based on their own preferred political outcomes. What the hell's going on with the Supreme Court ruling? The court's deadline to reveal a decision is next Friday, June 28th, but there are fears the conservative majority may have something more sinister up their sleeve. When is the debate? I gotta look that up too. Is that also on the 28th? Mother of God. That could be the biggest news day in the history of the world. June 27th. Okay, June 27th. So the day before. Wow. Okay. So the Supreme Court deadline, apparently, is the 28th. Deadline to release a decision next Friday, June 28th. But the debate is on the 27th. Do they release it a day early? They're allowed to. I mean, the deadline is 28th. They could turn it in tomorrow. They could update us and give us that decision tomorrow. But do they wait for Friday? Probably. They do like to release a lot of stuff on Friday. All the last bunch of decisions came out this past Friday as well. Will they throw it out there Thursday just before the debate? Oh my God. That would be a huge day. I'd start stream early just so I could cover the SCOTUS stuff, then get primed for the debate. I will be watching that on Thursday, the 27th. So please join me there and we can feel it all together. Live stream that debate. It'll be fun.
Hello human, it is me Kanuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
So what is this story about? There are fears the conservative majority may have something more sinister up their sleeve. Oh no, the conservative majority will have something sinister up their sleeves. The Supreme Court released a slew of new rulings on Friday morning, but once again, none of them included a decision weighing heaviest on Americans' minds, whether Donald Trump should be granted king-like immunity for his criminal indictments. Friday marks 114 days since the case was accepted by the High Court, an inexcusable amount of time to rule on something so consequential to the country. A top legal expert says, blah, 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 yeah, great. Let's see. It's taken twice the amount of time to rule on Trump's immunity matter, an appeal court comprehensively rejected, than it took to rule on the much more complex United States versus Richard Nixon case, which took only 54 days. So, well, okay, they're slow walking it. Maybe this guy's suggesting that they're slow walking it because they like him, because they're biased, because they prefer Republican rule, and so they're bending the rules. Again, they're bending those rules to benefit him. The argument in Trump's case were so outlandish that it should have been easy for the court to dispatch with them quickly, one former Supreme Court law clerk said this week. Right, but this law clerk isn't taking into effect that they want to help Donald Trump, so it takes a while. The court's deadline to release a decision is next Friday, June 28th, but Tribe fears the conservative majority may have something more sinister up their sleeve. Well, just a theory, he said it's possible the court is contemplating two things: slating Trump's case for a re-argument, which would delay things even longer, or potentially ruling that special prosecutors like Jack Smith, whose team brought the election subversion charges to the heart of the Trump's case, are unconstitutional. It would be a massive win for the MAGA movement. So this is okay. So we have a few options for what's going to happen with this Trump case. So he could be found, they could uphold it, right? And it would be like, yeah, okay, he's not immune. Or they could really accept the cockamamie scheme that he's put together and say, yes, he is immune. Or we could have a re-argument, whatever the hell that is, which will probably just make you say, hey, yeah, do the whole thing again. Start over from the beginning, in which case it will take years and won't be done before the election for sure, which means that if he wins, he can just make it go away. And wildly as possible, potentially ruling that special prosecutors like Jack Smith, whose team brought the election subversion charges, are unconstitutional. So Jack Smith is unconstitutional, and the hiring of Jack Smith is unconstitutional. Wouldn't that fuck up anything that any special prosecutor's ever done? I think that sounds wild, right? If they went down that route, wouldn't that make all special prosecutors in the past unconstitutional? But that would like goof up shit about 9/11 and George W. Bush and Trump's other issues, and then like Bill Clinton had a special prosecutor, I think. Did Richard Nixon have a special prosecutor? I think he did. Man, that could be wildly crazy, and it could echo backward, which would be weird and difficult. This is a wild time, and I think it could go very wrong, and it is weird and dangerous, and I don't love the fact that they get to be in charge of just everything. The Supreme Court just gets to do whatever the hell they want. You can't argue with it. If they make a decision, you just gotta deal with it. fuck off. That's what it feels like to me. Maybe I'm overreacting, or maybe I'm looking at things too closely, but that's what it feels like. It feels like they're the high priests who just get to make decisions based on their own biases, based on their own preferred political outcomes. That's what it seems like to me. That's what I want the people to do. I want the people to do that. I want everybody to vote on what those political outcomes ought to be. That is what I like. I like democracy. It's a good idea. And I want to have the humans, the people who are affected by the laws and have to live under them. There's an awful lot of laws I have to live under, to be able to elect people to represent them and further their own ideas and stuff like that, and vote on laws and vote on situations. And we've got enough interconnectivity within online and ID verification, stuff like that. We can just vote on things. It's a good idea. And I don't think that the Supreme Court is voting on things. I think they're making decrees. And I don't like that idea. Sounds like they seem, and I've just now had this thought, they kind of seem like an aristocracy, you see? And I don't like aristocracies. We had an entire revolution, American Revolution, about breaking away from the aristocracy. We didn't want aristocrats making the laws and the decisions for us. It's kind of American, you know? George Washington didn't like them. He probably was one, but he didn't like them. Or was he one? I don't know enough about history. But I'm saying that they did not like the aristocracy. And I don't like the aristocracy we have now. It's kind of getting to that point where I don't think the Supreme Court is connected to the voters and the people anymore. They've become detached. And that gap, that widening gap, makes things bad and difficult, and I don't like it. And it will lead to bad outcomes, I think.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.